The Swift Arm, your weekly session of chat from the UKOCR and adventure running scene. Each week, pub landlord Alan and our favourite regular Ian discuss races, runners and anything else that comes to mind. So pull up a pew, pour yourself a drink and join us at the Swift Arm. Drink pew, pour the Swift and join us.
You're listening to the 32nd most popular podcast for those who understand that pescatarians are secretly involved in the underground smuggling of dolphin milk.
Hey, my friend, welcome to the Swift Half again. Oh, and we're now live now. People we told last week at the end of the last show we're going to be live on YouTube, so we're live on YouTube, smarting ourselves up. I've got a British Obstacle Sports shirt on today. You know, I'm looking the dapper thing today, Ian.
You are indeed, and I've got a dress shirt on because I've just got back from work. It's the way it goes sometimes.
You're going with the you know, when I put our video onto YouTube, it does say, is there any placement advertisements? Now you've got your hat on for the Fitness Racing podcast. Do I have to put that that's a placement advertisement?
I have no idea, but have you looked behind you yet?
Oh, I've got a lot of sign behind me. Oops, might be a placement advertising there.
Potentially. I don't think it counts if you're advertising your own stuff. I'm fairly sure we'll be okay, Alan.
Yeah.
So let's go straight to it. What are you drinking?
Oh, yes, I'm on Brewdog tonight. I am on Brewdog Neon Dream Tropical Wheat Beer. Never had it before. This is live on air. Never tasted. So let's have a go. Have you tasted this one?
I don't think I have, actually.
Oh, that is good. That is fruity. That is very nice, that.
Tropical wheat beer.
Tropical wheat beer, Neon Dream, 4.5%. I could drink that, Ian. It's got like a bit of undertones of like the grapefruit, you know, like AZ Janars and Elvis juice, but it's much stronger tasting, much fruitier.
I'm sure if Kieran McAvoy is listening, I'm sure he can probably explain how it's fruitier. I'm sure it's something to do with being a wheat beer or something like that. So, Kieran, let us know when you listen to this.
That's good though. That I need to get some of that. That is that's the bee's knees. I think it's one of them that they don't do often because it came in a box of 12. I got at Christmas. I've left I've left 3 or 4 just for our show. So ones that I've never had before.
Well, I got a box of 12, and thus far I've left 11. So we'll see how we how we get on. And I'm not drinking alcohol tonight. It's a school night, so I am on Fanta watermelon, courtesy of a Tesco meal deal. I am working my way through all the various drinks you can get with a Tesco meal deal.
I saw Will put something on our pub chat the other day that he got a £3.70 meal deal and he'd saved £4.30. That's got to be one of the best savings I've seen.
It is. I wonder what he bought, and more to the point, I wonder if he actually enjoyed what he bought, because that sounds like posh sushi and maybe the seaweed stuff that they have, which is about £2 and probably washed down with some naked juice.
I can't do that. You know, when I go for the meal deals, I think I've had this conversation before, but I go for the meal deals. I've got to buy what I like. I can't not buy what I like. I'm like that. Always buy what you like.
Do you have a pattern when it comes to with a Tesco meal deal? You say you buy what you like, but when it comes to a sandwich or a salad, do you kind of like have 4 or 5, which would be your go-tos?
Definitely, without a doubt. Cajun chicken's always my go-to. Anything with chicken, but if we've got Cajun chicken or Mexican chicken, always my go-to.
They do a nice beef and horseradish, which is quite nice. They do that. That's quite nice. They do the little sub, which is the meat feast, which is not very good for you because it's just processed meats, but it's nice. And what I really like, Alan, is the specialty ones that they do. So around Christmas time, I get more excited for meal deal sandwiches, which have turkey in, than I perhaps do for putting up decorations or anything like that.
I actually do like the Christmassy ones and stuff like that. They tend to be much better than the normal ones, like a turkey with cranberry sauce and some specialized stuffing, and pigs in blankets with it as well.
Or pigs in blankets, of course. And before we move on from Christmas, because it is midway through the new year, not through the new year, but midway through the first month of the new year, I found something out, Alan, which I'm going to share with you.
What have you found out?
Christmas crackers
Yeah.
are not universal.
How do you mean universal? So, as in a Christmas cracker is the same shape?
It is, but it's not worldwide. People outside of Commonwealth countries, so former British Empire countries, don't have crackers.
What? Do you know why?
I don't know. It just seems to be a British thing. So our American listeners, everyone drink, but our American listeners probably don't know what a Christmas cracker is. And our
Oh.
American listeners, Alan, who watch Harry Potter, likely think that Christmas crackers were just something invented for Harry Potter, like Quidditch.
Oh, that's sad that they don't have Christmas crackers. So they don't have black pudding and they don't have Christmas crackers.
No,
I feel sorry for our American friends.
no, and it's not like we can send them any anyway because they have gunpowder in, and we'd probably get arrested for another gunpowder plot.
That's fine. They just shoot guns over there. They don't need Christmas crackers. They just shoot guns up in the air.
But is it just one of them weird things, Alan? You just don't think about it, do you? Until someone points it out. But listeners, let us know. Is there anything else that we take for granted in the UK which just doesn't apply either in America or anywhere else?
I'd be interested. I'd be interested to know more things. We just talked about New Year's coming and going, Ian. This weekend we had McTuff on.
We did. Did the groundhog? Did it see its shadow? Are we going to have 6 weeks of winter still?
Still gonna have 6 weeks of winter, but I've got someone waiting to come in pub. Shall we let him in?
Go on, then. Let's let them in.
Gavin Hogarth, winner of McTuff. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hiya, yeah, good, thanks, good. I wasn't sure if you'd actually heard the results or not.
Yeah, we keep his ears to the ground, and we know the men's result. We don't know the women's result as we're recording this because I'm not aware that the women's has been finalised yet. I think there's a little bit behind the scenes to be done, unless it's come out today that we're recording. I don't know.
I do actually have the women's result because I messaged Lindsay McCune before I came into the pub, and she's actually given me the women's result as well. So yeah, we can talk about both if you want.
Give us the women's results, because I'm gagging to know the women's results.
Well, I'm not sure you're going to know many of them if I'm totally honest. It's not to downplay it. It's just that I've not heard of some of these girls either. There wasn't, unfortunately, the kind of travelling contingent there's been in the past. I think Kate Stillwell come up last year and Karen McQuarrie was taking part last year, but they weren't there. So I'm going to completely butcher this girl's name who finished first. Ellie Edita Lelike.
Oh, Ellie. Ellie, Alan, you know Ellie. You were telling me earlier about Ellie. Remind us, what is your favourite Ellie race? I know you've got plenty of stories, or have you just got too many?
Too many, Ian. I've got too many. She's so well known about this. Gavin, I'm surprised you don't know this. You say yourself are a racer, and you don't know someone of that stature.
I believe you don't know Ellie.
I apologise, Ellie, on behalf of Gavin here and now. So.
Are you pulling my leg?
We don't joke on this podcast.
you're making me feel bad here. I'm not sure whether to trust you guys or not. Oh well, Ellie, well done anyway.
Well done, Ellie. Yes, well done.
And then second was Julie Sharon, who we actually do know because she comes down and trains with us. And then third was a girl, Alice Sessford. But the girls all, so just to let you know the format for McTuff, it was a race where you actually had to collect bands rather than getting your bands cut off. So there was 4 obstacles that were banded obstacles basically. So if you finished with 4 bands, then you trumped anybody else, no matter how fast or slow you were. The girls actually, all those girls only finished with 1 band. So unfortunately, the girls weren't able to do the rigs or the rope climb because it was so slippy. So I'm assuming these 3 girls all were brave enough to do the lollipops, which was the kind of dunk into the ice cold water and underneath the booms or trellis, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the girls' results.
Wow. Let's go men's in reverse order.
So men's in reverse order, third place was Graham Eastwood. He finished with all 4 bands. Second place, I think you might know this guy. Have you heard of Ramunis?
Yeah, just a little bit. I know he made a big trip up there, didn't he?
Once or twice. I mean, the guy's everywhere, isn't he? I see him. I've seen Ramunis more than I've seen my own children. So yeah, he finished second again, unsurprising with 4 bands, being with his grip strength. And then first place was me with 4 bands. So yeah, I've got the times as well. We were, what was it? I was 1 hour 26. Ramunis was 1 hour 37, and Graham was 1 hour 38. But it's worth mentioning that I was pushed very hard on the running by Ricky Carino, who Ricky's done well in the Spartan age group. And him and I were actually side by side the whole race and chopping and changing position. Unfortunately, Ricky didn't manage the 2 rigs, so he ended up with 2 bands, which knocked him down the result. But he only finished 40 seconds behind me.
Wow.
And for him, that was him. He ran 15 minutes quicker than he did last year. So yeah, I would say for this, he might be a guy to watch this year. If he can clean up on the rigs a little bit. He did struggle with cold hands. I think a lot of people struggle with cold hands at McTuff. But yeah, watch out for Ricky.
Well done to everyone. I am going to ask you, because we spoke before McTuff, and you mentioned that your biggest fear was getting lost. What happened this year? Was the course markings spot on? Did you know the course back to the back of your hand now, or what?
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up. Yeah, so yes, credit to the race organizer Dean. I did not get lost this year. I think I've done 6 McTuffs, maybe 7, and there's usually been some part where we've gone the wrong way or had to double back. Yeah, to be fair, I'll give a bit of leeway, I guess. It's a very tough course to mark. If you guys you've been up to McTuff?
I have, yes, twice. I've done twice.
So the terrain is the roughest you'll get, and there's a lot of switchbacks all over the place. So all it takes is just for one bit of string or tape to break at the wrong point, something like that, and you could be completely lost. So it is quite a hard course to mark. So yeah, but I can confirm, didn't get lost. It's a very, very tough course, terrain wise and whatnot. It's a real slog. So if that's your type of thing, then McTuff's definitely a race for you.
It's definitely one for the head, isn't it? It's like Tough Guy was down in the UK. It wasn't necessarily a race itself in the dry. It was a relatively easy race, but when you put the cold, the water, and everything together, it becomes a test of everything. I'm going to assume you mentioned earlier on that the women climbing the ropes, for yourself, you'll have got there and it'll have been fairly dry. The wetness would have probably been on your hands and your clothes as
Yeah,
opposed to on the road.
That's the difficulty of maybe being a little bit further down the field. The rope climb is the very last thing, and you'd think it's simple, but if you cake that in mud, then it's and the ropes, the way they were positioned as well, they didn't touch the ground, so there was about maybe a 2 feet between the bottom of the rope and the ground, so you had to get your knees up to get your foot lock, and people would be so cold and drained by that point that a relatively simple obstacle became much more difficult.
Very much so. Very much so. Congratulations on the win, though, mate. And a bit noticeable that there wasn't some of the big runners there, like you mentioned earlier on about the contingent going up. Do you think it's because maybe the Scottish Shearers know nothing about the Scottish Shearers, but apparently the races have not all been announced yet. Same as the UKOCR series, we're still missing 2 races. Things are just a little bit up in the air at the moment with events and things like that. You think that had probably a little knock-on effect?
Yeah, I think that makes a difference because then people can obviously plan ahead of which races they'll do. And I guess, I mean, you guys will be doing your best. I'm sure Lindsay with the Scottish series is doing her best. But if you've got if you don't have a completed list, then it maybe doesn't quite give it as much kudos. I guess until you see the full completion of these are all the races, these are the dates, and you can then properly visualize as a runner what ones you're going to do. So yeah, I guess that may be part of the reason.
Yeah. It's a pity that we didn't get the likes of Russell coming up and Karen running again and Kate Steelwell and that.
So I can speak of I know one of our team had messaged Russell, and I think he perhaps had some injury niggles, and I don't know whether I think that was an issue. Karen, she just said she didn't enjoy doing McTuff in the cold. She just didn't enjoy it in the winter. Just as simple as that. I mean, a lot of people probably it's not their type of race. It's not. It's for me. I enjoy doing it in terms of supporting a local race. Of course, it's always good to do that. It's certainly not my style of race. I do better on kind of free flowing terrain. I've got 2 very dodgy ankles, and I wear ankle braces for both of them. So I'm much more cautious over the rough terrain, and that's where Ricky was actually getting a bit of distance on me. But I'm better on a more runnable course. But for me, it was actually a last minute entry as well. I've had injuries and illness. I only entered about 5 days before. But it was one of those ones I got FOMO. That way you can get a wee bit bored training all the time, and you just want a race to do. So yeah, gladly I've come out with it, come out fairly unscathed, and onto High Rocks, and then I'm trying to fuse together High Rocks and OCR this year. It's going to be tough to do both at the same time, but that's what I'm going to be trying to do.
Awesome.
Oh, can't hear you.
No, Ian, I think you've left your microphone on and we can't edit that bit out this time. Now you're on.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, that's bizarre. My mic was on. Blooming Zoom sometimes. Anyway, I was saying, Gavin, your idea is to fuse the running different events of High Rocks and OCR. You're not actually planning to do some monkey bars before you do your wall balls?
Well, no, but I've always had this idea, and somebody will probably steal this, but having a kind of OCR versus High Rocks event at some point. I think we're well set up for it at Fit Body Farm because we do both. You could maybe have a team of 2 and a kind of High Rocks specialist with an OCR specialist. I feel like there's something there to bring the 2 together. And I feel like more High Rocks people could be brought into OCR as well. So shout out to anybody doing High Rocks. And I think if you can use your fitness, it's a 60 to 90 minute event, and OCR is often 60 to 90 minutes. And it's compromised running as well. You just need to learn some skills. So I think a lot more people could be doing both. Yeah.
You definitely do see that crossover already, and we are starting to see people from Hyrox experience going over and giving like a Tough Mudder or a Spartan a go. So it's definitely happening. It's just probably not happening enough. And honestly, we probably need more inside OCRs or shorter course OCRs, because we did see at the 3K champs lots of interest from those who are doing Deca.
Yeah, which maybe leads us on to the 3K that we're going to be doing at Tartan Warrior, and we're also going to be doing some training days, some open days, and over the next over kind of the end of January and the whole of February, because I feel there's a lot of people who need to know the basics of, well, how do I climb a rope, how the different techniques for doing monkey bars and things like that. And I think people who have been around OCR for a long time maybe forget that there's a lot of people that just need that basic coaching on those obstacles and others. So yeah, we're going to be doing some open days where people can come and just basically have a go. It's not just people who are doing Tartan Warrior; anybody can come and do it. Kids and adults, and yeah, we'll do a bit of coaching, but it's just to give people time on the obstacles. So trying to take some of that fear away. I think sometimes, some people might know some people might know myself who does competitive OCR. Some people might see videos and photos of Fit Body Farm and think, oh, it looks really difficult. There's all these rigs and things like that. But we need to kind of break down the barrier a little bit, and people to know that the vast majority of obstacles are achievable by most people. And then the whole point in obstacle course racing is to, fail something and then learn how to do it and get better at it. And that's part of the buzz, really. So kind of try and take the fear away from people.
And I've said this to several people in the. I don't think I've said it to you yet, Gavin. So I'm going to say it to you today, and anyone else who's in the fitness side, in the training facility side. If you want to create a video of how to climb a rope, I will publish it on our website, because we need that. And I miss that. I used to go to when I first started, I went to Mustical and Muddy Race, and they had little videos on there. And it was literally little ones like how to climb a rope, how to swing on a set of monkey bars. No secrets. It was none of this. It wasn't Mo giving his secrets away of how to complete a rig. It was real basic things that the beginners want to know. Yeah, they might want to know a secret. If you want to know a secret, they've got to come to your gym. They've got to come to your facility and learn from you. But we should have at least on websites and that. And I've said it to everyone: drop the videos, send me little videos of how to climb a rope. I will gladly put it on ours. Let's get as many people in doing that from now.
I totally agree. And the number of times I've been demonstrating an obstacle and then kicking myself that I didn't ask somebody to film it. I'm just the world's worst when it comes to remembering to do that. But yeah, it's something I've thought about for a long time. And I do have some older videos that I've done in the past, but it's even explaining to people how to break obstacles down, because it's like, well, you can say to somebody, here's how to climb a rope, but if they don't have the upper body strength to grip the rope to then take their feet off the ground, then how do they start? And actually, the tip I would give is start from a seated position. Get your foot lock from a seated position first, so it's automatic, and then stand up and do it, so you're not having to hold on to the rope for as long before you've got the foot lock in place. So that's just an example, but yeah, there's others where I'm thinking, you really need to break the skill right down as well.
Cool. So next race in the Scottish Series and the first race the UKR Series, everyone's coming to Europe. Now you can't compete in this. How is that going to be? We're talking about FOMO. How is it going to compete on in March 23rd, 20? Go on, give me the date.
23rd and 24th of March. I mean, obviously, you can't really unless somebody else set up the course and set up the rigs, and I wasn't really taking anything to do with that. But there's nobody really to do that. So yeah, as much as I'd love to take part, but last year I was just so busy. Last year it's the busiest weekend of my entire life. I mean, we loved it and it went really well, but Yeah, and I wasn't even thinking about taking part last year because I wanted the event to go well. I did actually have this idea. I'll float this one with you. Of a way that I could take part in a roundabout way, and just to give myself a bit on the course. And that would be where I would actually run probably the 3K course. It would need to be. I don't think I could do the 8K course, but I would run the 3K course myself, like either the day before, actually the morning of the race, and I would set a benchmark time, and then put up a cash prize for anybody that beats that time. So that's kind of my idea of yeah, I guess dangling the carrot for some competitors. There's a cash prize for anybody that beats that time, and also it puts a lot of pressure on me to go fast on my own course and experience it. So who knows?
What hitman do we know, Ian? That's quite cheap. Was that hitman called that we know that's quite cheap?
Headman. Oh, is it Will Chung?
That's it. Yeah. So we'll send Willow. We'll get him to distract Gavin, and then we can go and run and win the cash prize.
Yeah.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the level of I will talk about this, I'm sure, in Who's Hot closer to the time, but the level of competition coming, I would bank on somebody beating my time. To be honest, I would say home advantage could count for a lot, but yeah, there's some real good athletes coming, which is awesome to see. That's one thing I have to say is a shout out to all you guys from and ladies from south of the border. The number of English coming up for the race is, I said this the other day in a WhatsApp group, us Scots don't usually like armies coming up from the south to invade, but in this case we'll make an exception. So thanks to the support from everybody from down south so far anyway.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be an event of a great magnitude. Unfortunately, it's my birthday weekend, so I can't make it. I'm thinking it's my birthday weekend. I have tried to get up there. I've been saying it's my birthday weekend. Scotland's nice on March, the end of March. I've dropped enough hints. As of yet, I haven't. Nothing's been taken. So if I don't make it, I will be avidly watching social media because it's a who's who.
It is, do you know what? It's a real spectator's treat as well. McTuff again. McTuff was it's a great course in terms of for what it is in terms of the endurance aspect and the rough terrain and things. But as a spectator, it's not very easy to navigate. You're kind of like, a lot of spectators see you at the start and then they see you at the finish, and they're just wondering, okay, where is everybody? We can't really see any of the action. But our course, literally, you could probably walk less than 500 meters and pretty much see the whole of the 8K course. You could follow the 8K athletes in the space of you walking 500 meters because you can see them like coming in and out. And the rigs, we're going to have 2 indoor rigs as well. So the spectators will be right there at the rigs. Wow. So it should be pretty spectacular, especially on the fast stuff like the 3K and the 100 meters. But I think the UKOCR series race, that's the 8K, which will get a bit more running in it, obviously. But yeah, exciting, busy, but looking forward to it.
The big question is, though, it's on everyone's lips, and it is the only question I'm being asked at this moment in time, is will Hamish be there?
My son Hamish will be there.
Well, I'm thinking both Hamishes.
Oh, however, I don't like to kind of spread bad news, but Hamish the Highland Cow that was there last year, I tried to book him again, but he's unavailable. So Hamish's owner is at a wedding that day. So if anybody knows of any other Highland cows in the Ayrshire region that want to come and hang out for a day at Tartan Warrior, let me know.
I'm sure if you get a Highland Cow fancy dress costume, Ian could pop up for a very short fee.
Well, we actually are looking into a mascot outfit, but we need somebody to get in it, Ian. So I think you've got your calling.
Work that could absolutely work. It's freezing in Scotland, and I presume if I put a dry robe on underneath the Highland cattle, I might actually survive.
Maybe we could have a mascot race. Could we get more than one mascot? That'd be amazing. I think that'd be a real hoot. I get a mascot race CR course.
That would be cool, wouldn't it? That would be cool. We'd sponsor somebody.
We
Yeah.
would, but I'm trying to think if you've got the mascot gloves on, that's going to be a massive disadvantage.
True, and your head might fall off as well.
That's true. Alan, do you know who we need for this?
There's only one person that I know that actually would fit in this because I know he's done it before in fancy dress, and that's Will.
He has. We don't need Will. We need Ed Sheeran.
Shooting big. I've actually done a couple of mascot races. Would you believe? One of them was on an inflatable assault course dressed as Wee Willie Winky. Do you know who Wee Willie Winky is?
Yes.
I don't, and this is a family show, Gavin. This is a family show.
So we're talking sausages of the variety you would eat.
Again, family show, Gavin. Family show.
Oh, Gavin, I know you've got to shoot off because you told me before we started. How can people sign up for it? Because I know people can still sign up for Tartan Warrior. Where can they find you?
Probably the easiest place, if people on Instagram and they go to our link tree on Instagram, that'll take you to the links you need for each of the distances, because there's actually 4 distances over the weekend for Tartan Warrior. So do that on Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, then go to Entry Central and just search for Tartan Warrior, and it should come up in Entry Central.
Fantastic. And there's still places for all 4 distances?
Yeah, there is. The competitive, you guys will be happy to know, the competitive race for the 8K is almost full. We've literally got about 5 spots left in the guys and maybe about 7 or 8 in the women. So we've got nearly 100 competitive athletes in the 8K. The 5Ks, there's a few waves that are already full, but there is spots. And then, yeah, that's the big days, the 8K and the 5K. The first day, the 3K and the 100-meter race. Yeah, we'd like to get some more people booked in for that. That's going to be my focus after I come back from holiday, and we're on holiday next week, is to try and get more of the 100-meter runners in and the 3K guys and stuff. I appreciate there's the 100-meter championships is in Gloucester. Is that one?
Yeah.
Is that one this weekend? So I'll leave the ninja people in peace until they've got that one out of the way. Then I'll hound them into coming up for Tartan Warrior.
Awesome. And will we see you at Manchester in the end of this month for High Rocks?
No, actually, I'm a big letdown, aren't I? After saying earlier I wasn't coming down for something else. So no, it's actually my mum's 70th birthday that weekend. So yeah.
Your mum can compete. She could podium.
Yeah, but I would do a mixed doubles with my mum. So yeah, but unfortunately, I've done quite well in Manchester. I've been to Manchester 3 times, twice for the main High Rocks event, and then once for the World Championships. So I do know Manchester quite well. So I'm okay to give it a miss this time. My first High Rocks event will be Glasgow, and then after that, I'm ultimately going to be trying to qualify for the World Championships in Nice, but then the week after go to the European OCR Championships in Italy. So yeah, that's what I mean by there'll be quite a few people trying to do the same, I'm sure. But yeah, trying to train for both at the same time makes it tricky. But that's my plan. I'm 40 this year, so this is my effort. I'm going to be in the 40 to 44 age category now.
That's the Masters category. Does James Burton know you're in this category? Because I'm sure he will. He doesn't know. He hasn't said anything to me. He's kept this secret.
Now, and he'll be quaking in his boots. Although I appreciate James. I think he's had some shoulder issues, hasn't he? I think he's going to be out of action for a little while. I believe.
Yes.
But
Yes.
there's plenty of other amazing masters. In fact, the guys in the 40 plus category are probably stronger than the under 40s. When you think about Das, Ganella, Jason Brunnock, these guys, there's quite a few more of them. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be just as tough in the masters category.
Very much so. Gavin, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure chatting to you and letting us know all about McTuff and that.
No worries. Thanks for
Ian?
having me, guys.
See you later.
Cheers.
See you later,
Bye-bye.
Gavin.
Bye.
Oh, and it's always nice to get like Gavin or anyone in the pub who's had a race recently. He did so well, didn't he?
He did amazing. I wish I could have got the women's in, but I didn't know the results. So I know there was up in the air and things like that. Otherwise, I'd have asked Ella to come on as well. But yeah.
I think it's Ellie, but anyway, let's let's move on for that. You did predict her, by the way. I'm fairly sure in the prediction league you did well. Are we going to bring that back for UKOCR series?
I think we've got to, we've got to get a bit of interest back in it. I think I'm sure we should fetch it back and do something with it.
We did, but as well as Gavin, someone else in the pub today also had a race last week, and it wasn't me. So, Alan, how did it go?
Ian, I've got to admit, it was so much fun. I am writing a review for our website, not put it up yet, but I give some of the quick highlights. So I want to say, first of all, there's a little bit poor communication from them. So no pre-email, no nothing from them. But we rocked up on the day. I messaged them the night before on Facebook. They answered me straight away. Messaged them saying, is it going ahead? Because I'm thinking, I haven't heard nothing. Yeah, it is. Meet it up and running. So we got there. Registration simple. Gave us a mask to put on his face. Climbed on the bus, put it on your face, and they drove away. They let the 10 milers off first, and then they carried us somewhere and they dropped us off. I was hoping we were going to go north. And when I first opened my eyes and saw nothing but fields, I was thinking, yes, we've gone north. And then I saw no hills, and I was thinking, oh my God, worst case scenario, we've gone south, or, you know, and yeah, we went southeast to a place which was about 4 or 5 miles from where I live, which was, I could have gone home quite quick.
Yeah, were you not tempted to just go home and mail them the timing sheet?
We were tempted. Unfortunately, fortunately, we'd left his bags in Leeds, so we had to run back to get his bags anyway. So yeah, I used to train where they left us off. So there's a place called Hemsworth, just outside Pontefract, and I used to run around Hemsworth when I used to live in a little village called South Ainley. So I knew exactly where we were, and I knew how to get us to. So the route wasn't in my head. Then I straight away knew the route. It was Ackworth, Nostell Priory, Wakefield, and then Leeds. I knew there was some road that took you straight to Leeds from Wakefield, so it was just in that order. Instantly got us to Ackworth. Instantly got us to Nostell Priory. Wakefield was next. I had read beforehand though, Ian, a couple of tricks to use. So, because you got no watch on you and you got no phone, because they were fastened up in a bag that you couldn't open, you had to wait until you got there to open it. Some of the tricks I'd learned were about the sun. So wherever the sun is, if you put your little finger on where the sun is, sorry, the big finger on your watch where the sun is, so the hour hand, yeah, and wherever then 12 o'clock is, the gap between that is south, and that's no matter where it is, day or night. So if it's at 3 o'clock, then south would be 1:30. Yeah, in between 1 and 2. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I used this because I thought you know roughly what time it is, and I used a bit of this, and I knew already northwest. So I'm thinking to myself, as long as I kept the sun over my right shoulder, I was always heading in the right direction. So yeah, so I used that little trick, and then I saw a plane in the sky, Leeds Bradford Airport. I'm thinking, follow the plane, as you do.
When you arrived at East Midlands there, what did you do?
That was the only thing. It was East Midlands or Manchester. It could have been close. Now the planes were low enough. It was a great race here, and finding your own way. I learnt a little thing. Some of the things I want to do another one, and I want to go somewhere that I've never been to before. So I'm thinking about doing Nottingham. I don't know my way around Nottingham at all. I think it's going to be completely different, not exactly knowing where you are, because I only had to ask for directions twice. And one was when I thought I knew where we were, I wanted to know whether we went to left or right. So I asked the guy which way it was to Pontefract, and he pointed it out to me. So I knew where we were going that direction. So yeah, I would have liked to have not known where I was, so I could have asked more people directions.
That makes a lot of sense. Did they give you a map at all, or were you on your
No
own?
map, no map whatsoever. I thought we were going to get a little map, but we got no map whatsoever.
So could it be dangerous you going to Nottingham? Because eventually, what are you going to do? You're just going to keep running until you see a sign Nottingham 20 miles.
In theory, yeah, you would ask someone. So when we got off the bus, virtually everyone who got off our bus instantly started running the way the bus had come. And I was a little bit skeptical because I was thinking, well, if I'd have driven that bus, I'd have gone in a roundabout way so we're facing the way you should go, just to try and trick you.
That's exactly what I would have done.
Yeah. So I was a little bit, do we go that way or not? It was funny that we did actually go that way. We did go the way we came. But yeah, I guess it's, you never know, do you? You never actually know. So, but I do want to go somewhere where I've never been to before and try and find my way back.
Do they have one in Manchester? Because I know you don't really know Manchester. And if they do, I could do it with you, although we're different speeds. So I just see you at the end.
Yeah, we could do Manchester. There is one in Manchester. I'm sure there's a 10 or a 15 miler in Manchester at some point. And we could do the 10 miler together. I wouldn't mind stopping with you. I mean, we didn't do it necessarily fast. So the two buddies around with, Jamie was running really well. Rob's just come back from COVID. So we were doing a little bit of walking and that. I mean, I did 18.7 miles in 3.5 hours. So we weren't necessarily slow, but we weren't fast either. And a lot of that was Rob was really, really struggling, especially from mile 10 to mile 18. He struggled so much.
Well, yeah, but that's because we all know Rob, for you, it was 10 to 18. For Rob, it was 10 to 26 because he was having to go back on himself because he was lost.
We did have a little argument right at the beginning on which way to go. And I'm saying, Rob, I know where I'm going. And he's going, yeah, but I'm sure we came this way because I counted last 4 turns and we went left, right, left. And I'm going, no, this way, trust me, I know where I'm going. Yeah.
When is the Manchester one? I'm curious now. Let's just look it up while we're doing it live. So it's called The Drop, yeah?
Yes, it's called The Drop UK. It's called The Drop UK. Let's have a look where Manchester is. They do them all over the country, and I mean all over the country. It's basically any up and running store. You know, one of the good things, so you don't get a lot from it. You get tracked, and you get when you're finished, you get a little medal, cool little medal, but nothing special. But one of the things I did like was they don't actually have changing facilities. And at the one in Sheffield, you went into the basement of the shop, so you got to see what behind the scenes are in a sports shop. And there was shoes galore, and they trusted people not to like chuck any shoes in the bag or anything like that. There was no one sat there watching people get changed. It was like so good, and that. So yeah, let's
How
have a
many
look.
shoes did you steal?
None, none. So we've got Oxford, Nottingham, London, Edinburgh, Winchester, York, Carlisle, Newcastle, Liverpool, Bath, Glasgow, Cambridge, Birmingham. Manchester is in October, 5th of October. Kendal, Huddersfield, Leeds, that's next year, obviously, and Norwich next year. So yeah, they've got them all over the country. But Manchester is Saturday, 5th of October.
4th of October. We could possibly do that.
That doesn't clash. September, October. I'm just thinking if what it clashes with Escape from Meriden. Not sure date of Escape from Meriden.
Isn't Escape from Meriden in November? I'm fairly sure because it's WTM.
Okay, so it might be, yeah. August and September is when, for me, is the rat race Sea to Summits. So yeah, I could do October.
Yeah, let's see. And actually, listener, providing it doesn't clash with anything, which it probably does because we've not actually checked the calendars. If anyone wants to join us, Alan has said he'll do the 15. I'll do the 10, and we'll see who gets to Manchester first.
I like that idea. Let's see who gets to Manchester first, 15 and a 10. And you can come and join either of us. I like that idea, then.
Yeah, I think it's a cracking idea. I'd be tempted. Back in the day, Alan, what they used to do was they used to release you gradually, but it sounds like they dumped you all off at the same time.
Yes, just you just all get dropped off at the same time, and different people. We had a couple following us for a little while, and then I went, "Do you know where you're going?" They went, "No, we're following you." But then they went one way and we went another. So I don't know where they ended up.
Well, they recognised Rob and thought, oh, second thoughts,
Exactly.
it's this way.
Exactly. Exactly.
I am curious. Do you reckon the 10 mile people were dropped off around about the same as you, if that makes sense, or still southeast? I presume they were, but I wonder if they were like due south as opposed to southeast.
No, they went east. So they were dropped
Okay.
further east. So they were dropped up near Pontefract area. Because a lot of them just literally they were quite easy because if they went north from where they were dropped off, if they went north, they hit a river, and from my understanding, is the river took them directly into Leeds.
All right, that's good. I'm trying to think. I remember Ian Rawlinson did it, and they kind of dropped him off, not a million miles from my house, in Oldham. And yeah, once you found Broadway Road, which is a road that's, I don't think it's 9 miles, but the whole thing is like a 9 mile run. So once he'd found that, he literally just followed one road, took one turn, and he was straight down. But that was many years ago. So I presume now they've probably upped the game a little bit.
Definitely, definitely. Went for a few drinks afterwards, Ian. Got to tell you this story though. Went for a few drinks afterwards. So me and Jamie went round Leeds, had a little bit to drink, got a little bit of an hangover. We're testing different beers, but we found a little pub. So we went in Leeds. There's a bit of a famous pub down an alleyway called the Ship, which is called the Secret Pub. Went in there. The beer were awful. We actually left us drinks in there. And as we walked out, there was another pub just at the next alleyway called the Angel. So we went, let's go in here. Walked in here, beautiful pub, all wooden, log fire burning, nice wooden benches, tables, very rusticy feel. 2 pints, cost me £4.80 for 2 pints, cheapest pub I could find. An old bloke went to get his phone out, and the barman came running over and went, no phones, go outside if you're going to run your phone. It was a Sam Smith's pub, and they don't allow phones. They encourage you to talk. No phones allowed.
Yeah, the Sam Smith pubs are kind of famous for that. They're run by a gentleman called Humphrey Smith. I think the Grinch once told him to lighten up.
I can actually see it because it was an old guy who was in his 60s, I want to say, and he went, it's an urgent email, and he went, well, he says you best go outside and answer it then because you're not answering it in here.
And they never saw him again because he froze to death.
Well, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too cold out, but I found it very interesting, Ian. And he wasn't busy. And I'd have thought at that price a bit, because the beer was all right as well. So at £2.40 a pint, compared to, I think I paid £7 at another pub, it's a bargain.
Sam Smiths are kind of infamous in that it's almost like, I won't say it's a club, but you either are aware of Sam Smith's pubs or you're not aware of Sam Smith's pubs. Sorry, listener, for that. But yeah, it's black and white. And if you're aware of them, you're just kind of like, oh, it's cheap beer and I'll put up with these silly rules. And if you're not, you're always shocked. The pubs over here, not too far from me, with Sam Smith's, one across the road from me has been closed for many, many years now, which is a shame because, like that, it's a glorious building. And don't worry, listener, I'm not doxing myself because I'm convinced there's like 60 to 70 Sam Smith pubs that are closed.
You're quite right, because Jamie knew one which was close to us that's been was a very popular food place, and he said to me that when at one point Sam Smith came in and just said to the guy who was managing it, "You're not managing it right. Get out." And literally threw him out of the pub and closed the pub and hasn't opened it since. And that was last year at some point.
Yeah, Humphrey Smith, the guy who owns it, he is legendary for those kind of mood swings. And I understand that he goes in and checks the number of wasted beer and that, and we'll check how much whiskey's been sold by measuring what's left in the bottle. And yeah, honestly, I don't know how they continue to make money, because the few ones that we have which are still open, they're never busy. Like the one you
No.
saw, Alan. There's too much competition in publand. And you want to know what's really sad about the whole thing?
Go on.
At one point, he was a visionary. At one point, his were the first pubs to have jukeboxes in. And then his was the first pubs to have Sky TV in. But because it got expensive, he ripped it all out.
I can imagine that, because it does come across very frugal. It was like the next, like I said, the pub up the road, the shit, the beer was rubbish. I think it cost us £6 a pint in there, but it was packed out because it had got jukebox and music and bandits. And in the Angel, there was nothing whatsoever. It was literally table, chairs, really nice pub. But yeah, there was nothing in there unless you were talking to amuse yourself.
Yeah, and well, you had Jamie at least. It could have been worse, Alan. It could have been me and you. We have nothing to talk about.
Nothing to talk about. Nothing to talk about. Let's move on slightly. Some bad news come out this week. Touch on the bad news while we're at it. Rick Burgess is closing the Lions Den. Gutted for him.
It's such a shame. Do we know, will Raw Fit continue?
From my understanding, is Raw Fit is going to continue. It's going to continue as a team. And Rick and everyone else are going to be part of it. But yeah, the Lions Den itself is closing. And I get why. Rick's there's no news to anyone. Rick has struggled with his mental health for a long time. And I think the fact that it's not regular income is affecting him, and he's took a job. He's took a job actually working. You've got to look after your family, haven't you? You know what I mean? If you're not doing it, and the costs of everything at this moment in time are going through the roof. And he has mentioned insurance costs are going higher. He's getting people in. There's people are going, but it's not covering costs and things like that. And he needs to make money, and I get all that, and it's expensive. And the way OCR is developing now, you can't sit on your laurels with the obstacles you've got. You've got to keep on bringing new ones and new ones and new ones. So good luck, Rick. I know you listen to the podcast. Good luck in your whatever ventures you do. You've always got my support. Oh, and he's running 100 miles soon as well. South Downs 100 is having another attempt at 100. So good luck at that, Rick.
Good luck, Rick. Again, you know how much we think about you on the show. If you want to do it in the future and you decide to relaunch the Lions Den, we'll, of course, plug it as much as we can. No pressure on that at all. We're just saying, you're going to be sorely missed. Like, unfortunately, so many other places, the OCR, what they're doing now, list is just getting bigger and bigger, and it's such a shame.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Should we continue with the bad news?
Give us more bad news in. Give us more bad news before we go happy news.
Yeah, before we go happy news, we also the Junior Performance Centre that is run by Obstacle Group has been put on hold for the time being. There wasn't enough take up of it. So we're continuing with the athletes we currently have, I believe, and they'll be looking to relaunch later on, which is such a shame.
It is. I don't know if our listeners know this, our patrons know this, but we're launching a junior podcast that starts this week because we want to promote juniors and we have got 2 amazing juniors launching that. Look out Monday, going to keep that as a surprise for you. unless you're a patron, you know about it. But other than that, you can wait till Monday for the pint-sized OCR. It's not like a little Alan and Ian, you know, like Ant and Dec. It's not mini Alan and Ian. It's they're better than us. They're doing better than us, Ian. People are going to be bigger than me and you.
I've got to say, the idea of a mini Ian and a mini Alan terrifies me, and I'm sure it terrifies the listener. Just to confirm, that was Obstacle Play Part, by the way, which is putting the
Yeah.
junior performance program on hold, but they will continue to work with their current team of juniors, which is good, and I'm sure they'll definitely be back. Should we have some happier news, Alan? Because I spotted this on the UKOCR Facebook group,
Yeah.
and not a lot of people have got in touch with this yet, which surprises me. 100 mudders. If I say 100 mudders to you, what does that conjure up?
Well, I've seen the thing as well, so I know exactly what it's going to conjure up. But I was shocked that this has happened, and this is a great news story, an amazing news story, from James Stevenson.
Yeah, do you want to take it off? Do you want to fill in the blanks?
Well, from my understanding, Joe DeSena has basically given 100 Tough Mudder tickets for him to do with as he pleases, and he's wanting to get 100 people to come and do a Tough Mudder with him. So these are free places, no catch. I believe, is it the Midlands? Is it at Midlands?
It is Tough Mudder Birmingham, so technically it's the Midlands, but it's a new venue. The only proviso is that it's for someone who hasn't done one before, which
Yes.
I think is great. But what I think is, why not some of our listeners, that person who in your life who's always said, "Oh, I'll do one someday," or "Oh, it's expensive." Why not use this as an opportunity to say, "I'll see if I can get you a ticket and I'll do it with you."
I think that is a great shout, that, because there's a lot of people, especially and I'm surprised you, like you say, it's not taking up much traction on this, because there's a lot of people in the group who I've always said right from the start, I don't want to do a Tough Mudder because it's expensive. They don't know what they're missing. They really don't know what they're missing. It's not nuclear. It's not overload. It's not wolf run. It's Tough Mudder. It's different to them all, but it still has a place in OCR. It's not a race. It is a challenge. There's going to be obstacles there that you are going to think, wow. When I first saw Mudderhorn, I was like, wow, look how high that is. You know, coming down into Arctic Enema, electric eel, and you don't have to do all the electric ones and that, but the obstacles are challenging, whether it's been they're challenging mentally as well as physically.
It absolutely is, and it's worth doing it. And I think this is an old Tough Mudder saying from their marketing, like 2012, Alan, but there are 7 days in the week, and some days not one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Someday, I like that, Ian. I might use that tomorrow.
Yeah. So listener, go out. Also in Tough Mudder news, Alan, they've reopened the Innovation Lab. You've probably got this email. So if you want to design their own obstacle, go on Instagram, put it on, and do hashtag TM Innovation Lab.
Like it. We haven't had a lot of innovation recently, have we, in OCR? Tends to be rig orientated. I want something different.
I think that the balancing obstacles which don't involve your hands are underserved. You know, because you tend to have like Twinkle Toes or something like that. I would have loved to see the original Block Nest Monster actually run the way it was meant to. Like, did you ever hear how it was meant to run?
No, I thought it just meant to run like it did.
No, it was actually originally meant to run the other way. So you were meant to run over those blocks and avoid falling in.
Oh, right. So it was like a balancing beam, and rather than falling in.
Yeah, it was. And then people fell in and actually had more fun going over it than they did balancing. But yeah, that's why the first ever one, I think, had three. I think Carrie and Daniels can confirm that, because first ever one was in Las Vegas, and that was her first Tough Mudder. I want to say 2016 or 2015.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
it had three.
So they rotated. So were they on like motors that rotated them, or?
No, it was the same as it was now, but it had free so that you had more platforms people to run over,
Right.
which makes a lot of
Okay.
sense to be fair. But
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be good to see some innovation. Shall we go into some High Rocks news quite quickly and
Yeah.
then some other things? High Rocks Manchester, and indeed for the rest of the year, if you are competing on a day and you want to spectate on the other day, providing you keep your wristband or pick up your wristband, then you can go in. You're not going to be charged for a ticket. So, Alan, me and you, we're racing on the Saturday. If we want to go and watch the intern on the Sunday, we can do that, no charge. And same the other way, the intern can go and pick up her ticket and she can um, come and watch yours. We should clarify that you can't register on the wrong day. So you couldn't go on the Saturday wanting to get your time in shape and all that to then go on Sunday, but you can get your wristband to go in.
Cool. What trainers am I wearing?
I think you're wearing Crocs. I'm fairly sure you're going to
Crocs.
be wearing Crocs or flip flops.
Like that.
And
Like
the other thing is Hyrox has moved on to a new system. So name changes, you can now use the new system, which I'll just pull up what it's called. It is now called vvenue.com. And if you look on the support on there, it's easier to change your name on there than it ever was under the old system. So it's from Glasgow onwards during the new system.
cool. Like it. I like anything that's easier.
Okay, Alan, what else have we got? Oh, this week we have the 100-meter champs.
The 100-meter champs. We've got actually a short race in the 100 meters champs, and we've got a super long race that starts very close to me as well this weekend. So 100 meters champs, you can go first with this one.
Yeah, 100-meter champs down in Gloucester at Ninja, I believe. Evidently, there'll be a lot of ninjas there, but it'll also be good to see some OCR races as well. I think 100 meters will be a nice complement to OCR. We're not going to mention anything else around that
No.
topic. Yeah, we're going to keep it back free zone, but I do think it's something that can get people into the sport. And as we've been chatting, Gladiators is coming soon. The Eliminator is probably 100 meters OCR course. So if you can support it, I think as this is going up, they're very short on tickets. So if you want to go, make sure you go and buy a ticket soon if you've not already sold out. So Alan, what about near you? What's happening?
Well, the Spine Race, the yearly ultra of ultras, takes place this weekend, and we've got last year's winner Damon Hall going there. And I never knew this until I read that this week, that Nikki Spinks has never ever attempted the Spine Race. This is going to be her first attempt at the Spine Race.
Oh, that's almost like the Mandela effect, isn't it? Because I'm sure lots of people listening to this will be like, "Oh yeah, but didn't she win such a day, or didn't she
Yeah.
come like first in a couple of days and then dropped out in such a year?" She's never actually competed.
Never actually competed the Spine Race, so this is their first ever year. I mean, Damon's he's going to be up there. He's going to racing against Jack again. Remember, they finished last year, and I think it was the three crossed the line together, but Jack had taken a wrong turn in, so he was DQ'd. So they'll be running together again, I think, for most of the race. It's going to be very interesting. So I'll be dot watching for 2 or 3 days and seeing what happens, seeing who's winning, and so forth. Which takes me on to the Innovate with the new mud talons that are out as well. They look very good, Ian.
They do, providing it's a dry course.
I think if use dry course because they're not going to shrink. I get that one now. You almost went over the top of my head then, but I get that. Do you know when Nike brought out the vapor flies that like all of a sudden took marathon running by the storm? You know, it was like, boom, here they are. Innovate have done the same, or they're about to do the same, because there was a guy who did the Bob Graham, I think, in a record time last week. I can't remember his name. please excuse me, and he used them for the first time. Now we know Damon will use them, and Nikki will, because they're both Innovate ambassadors. Could you imagine if they won in them shoes? This could be the night vapor. These could be what night vapor flies did to road running. These could do to trail and fell running.
Oh, that would be interesting. Do we know anything about the shoe? Like, how hard wearing is it, or are you waiting for your pair?
I haven't got enough money to buy a pair. I haven't asked Innovate for any. You know me, and I've got more shoes at the minute. If someone out there has got a pair and wants to test them and review them for us, please do. I would like to know what they're like. New material, new design. It looks like the traction's going to be absolutely amazing. Most mud talons have been. You can't really fault them. But yeah, they could be taking the fell running scene by storm if they go and smash it this week.
Can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see the dot watching. I'm sure, Alan, that you will put it on a line somewhere, probably on our page, so people can go along and watch. And have we got any other news, Alan, or is it just the final bit?
Well, the fact we have got one thing. Last week I promised, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to give a shout out to all our patrons, and I'm going to do it this week, Ian, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be here next week, because I move house this weekend. So you might need to find someone else. So let me get a list of our Patreons up. And my computer is running really slow, so please excuse me.
Okay, let's shall I give a shout out to ones I can go off the top of my head?
I've got it now.
You got it
nearly
now,
there.
okay.
You're nearly there. You're nearly there. Louis Stevens, Kelly Spalding, Michael Walker, Craig Redmond, sorry, Justine Annie, B. Wood, Encarnio Casellas Arande, James Burton, Laura Haywood, Tim Crangle, Steve Mesham, John Poole, Miles Lacey, Mike Nolan, Louise Ferryman, Kevin Dent, Wendy Brothers, Brian Keys, Ben Griffin, Daniel Weston, Charlotte Malone, Gordon Cameron, Richard Willis, Paul Ellis, Martin Gemmell, Matthew Kirk, Sophia Harnaday, Michelle Carney, and our longest standing one, Will Chung.
Well, Will did cheat and went on the Patreon before anyone else could, because we were asking people to test it. And yeah, so he is the longest standing one, but don't worry, listener. I'm fairly sure Sophia might have been the first one when it went live, but it is what it is. If you are listening to this as Patreon and you're not in the pub, please shoot the UKOCR page a quick message and we will make sure we get you in that pub. Okay, Alan?
Definitely, yeah. If you're not in the pub, I think they all are, but if you're not, drop me a bell. We'll get you in the UKOCR pub podcast. But big thank you to every one of them. If it weren't for them, we would still be spending our money, Ian. And at this moment in time, and I'm just being honest with this, is you guys are paying for our podcasting now at this moment in time. Not paying our wages. I've said this all along. You're not paying our wages. You're paying for now for us to keep the podcast going and get them out to people as sooner.
Yeah, and listen, I think around about this time it's the 3-year anniversary of UKOCR podcast, not the 3-year anniversary of Swift R, but the 3-year anniversary of UKOCR. And we're finally breaking even, Alan.
I know.
Thank you guys so much.
It's amazing. Yeah, that 3-year plan. We said a 3-year plan, and
We've hit our 3-year plan. And and we all know what we're going to do next. We're going to take over the world.
Take over the world here.
Right, and on that, listener, thank you as always. It will be me next week. It may or may not be Alan, depending on how his house move goes. He might get eaten by a rabid cow, or something might fall on him. But if it's not Alan, then it'll be me and hopefully someone else, because no one wants to listen to me for an hour on my own. But we'll find someone. And on that, I will say it's a goodbye from me.
And listener, I hope I'm going to be back next week. But thank you very much for listening. As always, much appreciated. Don't forget, it's our YouTube channel if you're not watching this on YouTube, because you can see me and Ian laughing and drinking actually in person as well. So thanks for listening. You take care. You stay safe. We'll speak to you all soon. Bye.